All right, what is up, traders? What's up, tycoons? Super excited for today's video. As we can see, crude oil has taken the bearish outlook right here, coming down to that demand zone and actually breaking through here at the moment. This is something we're looking at as a potential scenario after breaking, after basically getting a false breakout right here. We look for a boom, retest, and then ultimately a push lower after a retest of this resistance level. And that's exactly what we're getting, right? We'll go over why when we take a look at money manager positioning. It will also break down USO. All right. So the US oil chart. We'll break down XLE, what we were looking for initially in XLE. And as you guys can see, I took a big loss in XLEs, and that happens, guys. But, I've also been very long tech and many other plays in the market. And so this was a good hedge, right? Just in case, the market started to pull back. Typically, you see, energy rising when the market starts to pull back. So, sometimes you have to take those losses. And as I mentioned, multiple times in the Discord, energy was a good hedge for, especially if you're long tech and long big tech. And I've been trimming that hedge position as I've been trimming, profits on some of the long positions. And so that's just how the cookie crumbles. All right. You don't necessarily want to have all of your eggs in a basket or in one basket. It's good to have some diversity, right? But just to go and show you guys, did take a massive loss on XLE right there. We'll break down GUSH as well. Okay, GUSH kind of similar to XLE. This is a leveraged ETF though. Similar kind of setup with the falling wedge, looking to see if it could establish some demand there, just absolutely breaking through and plowing through that demand there. We'll also take a look at XOM. This one had a potential diamond bottom reversal. And we're like, all right, well, let's hold off on trying to get into XLM. All right. And let's rather look for a breakout and retest to the upside versus trying to anticipate a diamond bottom reversal. As you can see, that did not end up being a reversal. And we simply just broke through there. And now it's heading down to some key areas of interest as well. As always, though, the content provided on this channel is for informational and educational purposes only and is not intended to be relied upon as legal, financial, or investment advice. So be sure to read through the disclaimer. You guys can join the Investment Intelligence Discord as well, or newsletter, okay? I actually started a completely free newsletter for you guys, Investment Intelligence, giving out free trade ideas, highlighting the conditions on the chart, like up here, showing you guys the chart itself down here. And many of those trades have worked out very, very beautifully. Rivian being one of the most recent trade ideas, and the stock is like up 10% alone just today. All right, this was one on SWK highlighting the rising wedge. You can see we're targeting, these levels to the downside, explaining it to you all, and that trade worked out perfectly. Okay, so sign up for the newsletter if you're fans of free, valuable trading content, free, valuable finance content, and you want free trade ideas sent to your inbox every single week. I try to sprinkle in 1 to 2 free trade ideas in there. You can also join the Investment Intelligence Discord. You can see many of the plays that we were long. Carnival Cruise Line, I just closed that one today. This is a screenshot from last week. I just closed that one up over 800%. Carnival Cruise Lines is something where if you're long, cruise lines, typically, you would want energy to be dropping and oil prices to be dropping, right? So XLE was a very good hedge for that, as well as tech. And many of these plays are up even more significantly today, including Rivian. We are able to sell Neo for a nice profit. Tesla is up since then. So if you want access to all of the different trade ideas rather than just, 1 or 2 a week from the free newsletter, you can join the Discord. It's only $10 a month. That's literally less than a cup of coffee a week. Okay. Now let's get into the video and start off here with the crude oil futures. And so crude oil futures did actually come in here. And what we see happen was, we came down, we had this, basically false breakout, a look above and fail, which is a bearish connotation. And you can see we came down to this level here. And this was a key zone that we were watching. We bounced and we came up rejected, right? And this is kind of what we were looking for once we saw the false breakout would be, a breakdown, retest, and then push lower to the next demand zone. And that's exactly what we're doing today. We're actually dipping below there. So crude oil has the potential to come back down to the lower 60s. I wouldn't be surprised if we get some type of a little rebound. And what you want to watch for there, again, is going to be a breakdown and retest, like similar to what we had to this level here, right around $89, $90. And so if we do get a little bit of a rebound, just be mindful that it could be a retest of, support as resistance now to push lower down towards that $64 range. Now, that doesn't have to happen. Okay. But that's something you want to be mindful of and pay close attention to when it comes to, crude oil. And this is going to affect the price of a lot of energy funds, energy stocks such as XLE, USO, and other individual names, GUSH even, and things like that. So for right now, we're below the 200-day moving average. Crude oil futures do not necessarily scream bullish right now. They are getting very close to oversold, and we're close to building a bullish divergence right here. So again, like I said, I really wouldn't be surprised if it does get some type of a rebound in the near term future. Just know that, it can potentially keep heading lower. We just got a MACD crossover right here to the downside, and any upwards momentum would need to reclaim this zone here as support rather than retest it as resistance and continue heading lower. If we were to break things down further, when you look at money managers, they've recently raised their gross bearish bets on WTI. This was last week or over the weekend is when I got this data set. And we can see that, this week it's been very brutal for, oil and energy. So the short only positions rose to 20-week high, 21-week highs ahead of the OPEC meeting. And we're seeing a lot of that bearishness play out. So, money managers are sitting in profits right now based on these short positions. And so it's possible we could see some short covering, or oftentimes they like to double down on their winning positions. And so we may even see more bearish bets on WTI and crude oil and just, energy in general. Being that money managers and hedge funds oftentimes are very greedy, and so whenever they short something and it's working, they tend to double down on that position. So just keep that in mind. Okay, we could see some short covering and see a little bit of a dead cat bounce. That's why you want to pay attention to see if it's rather just a retest of this zone, and then perhaps we continue to push lower, or and that's basically just some short covering, or if we can reclaim this area as support and then push back up higher above the 200-day moving average, then we could see crude oil potentially get back to that $80 to $84 region. If you look at USO, okay, USO just broke through 65.96, which was supposed to be a key support level and basically a target for this bearishness. It basically gapped down right below that level, and it appears to be approaching a small demand zone we've had from in the past. If we break through there, it's very possible we head down to $60 or $58. Those are other two areas. Those are two other areas below but below 64 essentially, where the price of USO could be heading. Again, this is nearing that oversold territory. Just because something's oversold doesn't mean it can't bounce, or I'm sorry, can't continue to go lower. But at which point it wouldn't be surprising if we start to see a little bit of a bounce. I do just kind of want to highlight here, I mean, if you take a look at this, we have a left shoulder, we've got a head, and we've got a right shoulder here. I mean, this looks like it could be a head and shoulders, guys, a big head and shoulders. And so, just keep in mind, if we do get a little bit of a dead cat bounce and we break through that demand below around 64, that wouldn't be surprising. And that would coincide with us, playing out this head and shoulders fully and heading down towards that $60 price target area. If we were to take a look at GUSH, okay, so GUSH is one. And, we're saying, hey, we're in here, we have this rising wedge, or I'm sorry, this falling wedge here at the moment. And we wanted to see, where are we going to be able to establish demand in here in this prior demand zone and potentially get the breakout retest push up higher to retest some of the recent retracement levels from that move down. You can see we completely broke through demand in the past 2 days and have continued to push lower. All right. There was some initial, bullish divergence here, right? Where we had lows and lower lows, then we had lows and higher lows on the RSI, and we did see a nice little bounce there, but we did not get any follow through, right? And when we take a look at XLE, where's the XLE chart? Let me get that for you. XLE had looked a little bit more promising than GUSH at first, right? We had the falling wedge. We got a breakout, what appeared to be a retest, and started to push up higher, but we really rejected right around that 38.2% retracement level. And now we have a clear look above and fail by XLE, which is what we saw in crude oil that initially, fueled the downtrend there, right? We've also got a bearish MACD crossover forming right now on XLE. So, energy doesn't look great at the moment. It's getting a little bit oversold, but just keep in mind, even if it does bounce, it could be a little bit of a dead cat bounce. Now, we'll have to determine that a little bit more in the future. We had someone asking me yesterday, hey, should I, buy into GUSH right here? I said, no, we just want to see if we can establish demand, right? And it basically wasn't a good time to add into GUSH right there. And it continued to drop lower. So, hopefully they didn't add into GUSH right there. And this is kind of why you just wait a little bit for clarity. If you have been long energy, throughout this consolidation phase, it was a good hedge, for certain other place, right? If you're in cruise lines or airlines, I dropped a video on the airlines here recently, and you want to see energy dropping and oil prices dropping if you're long things like tech, or if you're long things like airlines and cruise lines, things that typically have an inverse relationship with energy, right? So if we move on and we take a look at an individual name like Exxon, okay, Exxon, we mentioned, we were looking to see, can we get a little bit of a diamond bottom reversal right here? And no, we did not, right? We actually broke through our key demand zone here. And so now Exxon Mobil looks and appears to be heading down towards 97.91. There's a little bit of support below there through a demand zone, as you guys can see from right over here. That we'll look to see if we can establish a little bit of demand. But again, just keep in mind, if we do start to rally and recover, you want to pay close attention to this 100 to about 101, 102 area. If we just simply flip that to resistance from support, that could be the retest that we get to, continue pushing ExxonMobil lower, and really come down and retest that demand zone there. And that's where we'll have to see ultimately where things head up. If you look at the individual name XOM, we also got a bearish crossover on the MACD right here as well. So energy not looking the best at the moment. Okay, we basically got the head and shoulders to play out on XOM. If you take a look, we had left shoulder, we had head, we had right shoulder. Roughly here's your neckline, and boom, we look like this, right? And it came down to that demand zone, and now we're breaking through that demand zone of support, potentially heading down again to that 97.91 area. So, we kind of went over the data, and we were big seeing that, basically a lot of hedge funds, a lot of institutions, money managers have been raising their bearish bets on oil. And that could have, aside from geopolitical factors, that could be a reason and a force, really dropping the price of energy stocks across the market, really dropping the price of oil stocks and oil futures across the market. And we'll look for a shift in change, a change. XOM is oversold here versus, a lot of the other names were just kind of approaching that oversold territory. So again, a lot of these things can bounce, but just because something's oversold doesn't necessarily mean that it can't go lower. So keep that in mind. All right, don't forget to sign up for the Investment Intelligence newsletter to get those free trade ideas, free valuable trading content, finance content directly to your inbox. You're really going to enjoy those if you're a fan of free valuable content. You can also click on my Ko-Fi page using the link in the description as well. That's where you can book 30-minute and 1-hour sessions to figure out, what are some of the, trading dynamics that I look at. If you ever feel like you need that one-on-one personal interaction to really, understand certain things or be able to ask questions as you have them, you can always book those 30-minute or 1-hour sessions directly through that Ko-Fi page right here. You can click on buy a coffee as well if you guys are interested in, ever leaving basically a tip or donation for the free valuable content I do put out. And don't forget to join the Investment Intelligence Discord, where you can get access to all of the different trade ideas, custom scripts, indicators. You can sign up for the newsletter for free, all right, and get 1 to 2 free trade ideas. But if you want access to all of the different analysis trade ideas, then you can sign up for the Discord, and that's only $10 a month. Thanks you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.